Welcome back to another episode, friends. Today I've got a pretty cool video for you guys. So let me kind of lay out the scenario of what's going on. One of my pastimes is I'll sit at home in the evenings and I'll go to any body of water around me on Google Earth, right? And I'll find all the little creeks and tributaries that actually feed into that body of water, and I'll just scroll and scroll and scroll and see how far those creeks go, you know, up into the mountains or over into wherever they want to go, right? And a lot of the times I find fishing spots doing that. That's how I found that spot that you guys saw a few months back when I caught all those fish back up in that creek in my aluminum boat. And so that's what I did today. I found this awesome little creek that feeds into the main lake. I found this awesome little just gravel boat ramp that you can only put kayaks in at. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go fish this and see what's up with it. And that's where we are today. I mean, guys, it is absolutely gorgeous, just kind of floating down through here. Awesome little creek. It seems like there's a lot of cover, a lot of stuff in the water. I actually met a couple kids back at the boat ramp, and as soon as I pulled in, both of them caught a perch, which tells me that there's perch swimming around in here too. But today's fishing mission is to try to catch a bass out of here, and I don't know how hard that's going to be or how easy that's going to be, but that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to catch some bass, just explore this creek because it's just freaking awesome. I love exploring places like this, going to these little creeks that kind of no one else fishes or gets a chance to fish, because I feel like, you know, you have an opportunity of, number one, seeing things not everybody else gets to see, but opportunity number two is maybe catching really big fish that no one's ever caught before. So yeah, that's what we're doing, and hopefully you guys will enjoy today's episode. We start with the old stick bait here, see if we can get us a bite really quick. It's funny, the wacky rig's kind of been my go-to in the kayak lately, and I think it just really has to do with the fact that it's so finesse. I'm dealing with a lot of pre-spawn and spawning fish, and you know, just really passive wacky rig just kind of wiggling in front of their face makes them want to come up and actually eat it. But I think in this creek, you know, I'm probably gonna be dealing with a lot of kind of finicky, finessey kind of bass, and so I'm gonna start with this thing just to see if I can get a bite really quick. If I don't get a bite, I won't stick with it a super long time. I may even pick up a frog and toss it around. But I'm kind of starting on the right side of this creek as we go down through here. It seems this right side just seems to be a little bit shallower and have a lot more cover on it, like stumps and rocks and that kind of stuff. And so that's the kind of stuff these bass like to hang around in these creeks. You know, it's something for them to get behind. It's an ambush point. And it's kind of just easy targets to throw out and pick apart as I drift down through here. I really don't know how far I'm actually gonna float before I turn around. I need to kind of look at the map here in just a minute and figure out exactly where I'm at. From what I can tell though, it goes pretty straight and then there's a big bend. And then when you hit that big bend, it's not really too far until you hit the main lake. But, you know, I'm thinking the closer we might get to main lake, the more fish there might be actually willing to eat this thing. Because so far I've got 0 bites, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, I may just not be throwing the right thing. Those kids up at the boat ramp, like I said, they both caught perch, which is interesting to me because it tells me that there's bait fish in here. Now it's just kind of figuring out what those predatory fish are actually eating. Are they eating the perch? Are they eating minnows? Are they eating bluegills? Which I've not seen any minnows yet. I've seen a few bluegills and I've seen a few more perch, which again, it's kind of interesting. But we'll stay after it. We'll keep picking all this stuff apart, just throw this wacky rig around for a few minutes and see if we can put us an old bass into the kayak. What I got here? Little bitty dude. Come here, little dude. Oh my word. Like a little micro bass. That is so funny. Little bitty spot. It's a spotted bass is what that is. That is so funny. I knew I was getting bites. I just couldn't figure out what bites. Little itty bitty dudes like that. Look at that. That's so awesome though that he's living up here in that creek. All I know is if he's living up here in that creek, that means that old Big Mama's living up here in that creek too somewhere. Get here, bud. That's freaking awesome. Well, that log jam freaking screwed me is what just happened. I'm only like 600 yards into my float, ran into that thing. I tried to find my way around it and there just wasn't anything. I really thought there was like a little creek on that cut in behind this island, but it ended up just dead ending into the woods. So what I'm thinking is let's just shoot back up here to the boat ramp, load the kayak up and go somewhere else. I think it's gonna be my best bet. I actually talked to an older man down here that had a lake house or river house or creek house or whatever you wanna call it. And he was saying that, you know, he's never caught many black bass in this river other than those little micro spots. Catches a lot of white bass, perch, and bluegill. And so what I'm thinking is this just isn't the stretch of creek or river that I need to be in, which still fun, you know, fun exploring this, coming to find out about it. I mean, the only way you're gonna find out if fish are in the area is if you go fish it, and that's what I did. Caught that one little micro spot, which was pretty fun. It was funny because he bit like 4 or 5 times before I actually got him hooked. But yeah, so we're gonna jet back up here to the boat ramp, get loaded up, go somewhere else and see if we can put some fish into the kayak, because this spot just didn't pan out. But it's all fun of the adventure and fun of exploring and going and doing something new. So yeah, that's what we're doing, and we'll see you guys when we get to the next ramp. Well, I tell you what, I got everything loaded up. Got heading towards a different part of the lake, and the wind started blowing. It started raining like crazy, and the temperature has dropped 16 degrees since I left the boat ramp. It is freaking getting so cold. I knew there was a cold front moving in, but I honestly didn't know that it was going to move in this quick. But it went from 66 when I got to the boat ramp this morning to right now it is 50, and just dropped down to 49. So I said, screw it, let's go back to the house. We're gonna go put the kayaks up. I'm actually gonna get ready to go fishing tomorrow, but what I want to do is I want to take you guys in the garage with me, and I want to talk about my favorite bed fishing baits, because right now is bed fishing time in Tennessee. There's a lot of fish moving up on the beds, there's a lot of fish moving off the beds, but right now you can have a really good opportunity to catch a giant fish off a bed. So I thought we'd talk about bed fishing baits, and then just kind of go through what I'm getting ready to go fishing with tomorrow to go hopefully catch some fish. So yeah, kind of a different plan. Didn't exactly work out how I wanted it to, but I thought we'd still make a video out of it today and kind of bring you guys along and just talk a little bit of fishing, because I know you guys like to do that. So yeah, let's get to the house and get these kayaks put up, and then we will prep some tackle and talk some spawning bass. All right guys, so here we are back in the garage. Like I said, I want to talk bed fishing. I want to talk my favorite baits to actually fish for bedding fish and to get those bites. Two things before we get into this topic. Number one, I'm actually going to do a giveaway for you guys. Hopefully you've watched this far into the video, but I'm going to give away one of each of my favorite bed fishing baits, which we're going to go over here in just a second. So to enter that giveaway, all you got to do is like this video. You got to go down below and comment your favorite bed fishing bait, and you have to be subscribed to my channel. And then I want you to actually share this video with somebody. Well, I know that you've shared it. No, I won't, but it'll help this community to grow. So if you would do that, but definitely the 3 things you need to do: like, comment, subscribe, and you'll be entered to win some bed fishing baits that we're going to talk about. The number 2 thing is, it is bed fishing. Now this can be kind of controversial. Some states it's actually illegal to fish for a fish on beds, and you know, down here in Tennessee it's not. I've done a lot of bed fishing, and I've caught a lot of fish off beds and watched them go right back to their bed, take care of their babies, have eggs, and do just fine. Some people find it kind of controversial, but I think the most important thing is, if you are going to bed fish, treat those fish with care. This is probably one of the most important times for them this time of year, and you want to be respectful to that fish. You don't want to be foul hooking fish. You don't want to be overly aggressive with fish. If you do catch them, grab a picture, put them back, let them go make some babies, because them making babies is what's going to make sure that we have fish to catch for years and years to come. So just wanted to say that before we actually got into this list. So let's get into this list with my number 1, and that is a jig. More specifically, a white Gorilla swim jig from Beast Coast. Now, the reason I choose white isn't to mimic a shad or do anything like that. It's more so that I can see this bait. A lot of the times when I'm bed fishing, I'm fishing in really clear water where those fish can see me. And so I got to stay off of them a good ways. And so I need to be able to see that bait when it gets on the bed, and really be able to visualize and be able to see what's going on that bed so that I can work those fish. So that's why I choose white. And you'll see a lot through what I'm going to talk about here. It's very bright, loud colors, and it's for me so that I can actually see that bait and be able to work those fish. Now, the jig is probably my number 1 go-to, and it's a bait that I use up as a follow-up bait once I've got the fish pissed off, and we'll talk about what is my bait that I use to actually get them pissed off. But the reason I use this as a follow-up is because that little bit bulkier profile, that skirt on that jig, when it hits the bottom and it flares out, and then this Beast Coast jig has some flash actually tied into it, it really kind of works and moves on that bed without you having to actually impart any action on it. So what that means is you can flip that thing in there, and just the water alone will actually just make that jig move. And a lot of the times it just pisses those fish off. You're not actually trying to get that bass to react to anything and actively feed on what you're throwing on their bed. You're just trying to piss them off enough that they finally have enough of it and they decide, I'm gonna kill this thing that's on my bed. Because a lot of the times when you are bed fishing, what you'll see is the bass will pick things up and move it. They won't actually commit fully to it. They'll try to brush things off with their tail. And so what you're doing, what your job is to just piss them off enough that they decide, okay, I'm gonna kill this thing that's on my bed. And that jig is a great way to do that. Like I said, the skirt, I think, has everything to do with it. Now, my second favorite bed fishing bait is that little thing that I got it paired up with there, which is a white minnow scrub from Strike King. Again, the white color, because it's very visual. I can see what's going on. I can, you know, work that bed fish. But that menace, I kind of use that as the bait to piss them off with. I can flip it in there, just keep flipping it, may bump the fish, just get them really mad, and then follow up with that jig. And a lot of the times, once I've got them mad with that menace, they'll attack that jig. Now, one thing I do with my menace that a lot of people don't do is I actually don't fish it pegged. I don't peg my weight at all. I just go unpegged 3/16 ounce Balmar flipping weight from Beast Coast, 4-aught hook. And the reason I do unpegged is because you get that weight bait separation. So what that means is that weight can be separated from that bait. So if that fish does decide to commit to this menace, that all he's grabbing is that right there. There's no weight other than the hook. And it's kind of like fishing a Carolina rig as well. It allows that fish to really suck that thing in, get it into their mouth, and then you can jack their face. But just try that. Try an unpegged Texas rig. Go light. I always go super light when I'm bed fishing. The jig is 3/8 ounce. And then it slows way down with that minnow scrub, and then the flipping weight that I'm using, again, 3/16 ounce, just because, again, I want it light, I want it to fall slow, I want it to hang in their face, and then two, it's not much weight for them to actually have to pick up when they do decide that they want to eat it. The next bait is something, I wouldn't say it's sneaky, but I don't see a ton of people fishing it, and it's kind of like the jig in the fact that it's just more bulk on the bed, and it's just something a little bit different. A lot of the times if they won't commit to the jig, which 90% of the time they're going to commit to that jig, I'll actually throw this. This is a KVD Perfect Plastics caffeine shad, and I'm throwing it in the siren color. Again, the color isn't to mimic anything specific, it's just so I can see it really good. And that caffeine shad is just bulky. It's a bigger, bulkier bait. It's really loud. This is the 5-inch version, and I'm throwing that on a 3/16 ounce weight as well. Just flipping it in there, and it's kind of like the jig in the fact that it's something bigger, it's something bulkier. And I think a lot of the times when you do, you know, throw in the menace a bunch, throw the menace, you know, you can agitate that male. But then when you put something a little bit bigger on that bed, those females get pissed. They don't like those bigger things on their bed. And I think they're just so territorial that they're like, you know, little man, move out of my way. I'm gonna take care of this, and they'll swim over and they'll grab it. And a lot of times that's what I've seen with the caffeine shad and the jig, is that once you get them mad and you flip that bulkier bait in there, that female just beelines for it and sucks it up, and you've got your bed fish. Now the last one is actually a stick bait. I'm using a Bass Pro Shop Sticko lately because I've found that there's no difference between these and a Senko. Freaking go crucify me in the comment section. But I use just a really natural color. This is the only thing where I'm not using something bright and loud. But the stick bait is awesome. The Senko, whatever, weightless on a wacky rig because it hangs in their face. It just kind of flutters down in front of their face. And a lot of the times that slow fall as it approaches the bed, those fish just can't stand it. They rush up and they suck it in. Again, really light presentation. So when they do decide to suck it in, there's nothing that's holding it from going in their mouth. They just suck it straight in. You can get a good hook into them, and you can catch those bedfish, because a lot of the times that's going to be your biggest problem, is you won't get them hooked good because they don't put that bait completely into their mouth. It's actually what happened with that big female the other day. I flipped that menace in there a whole lot. When I flipped the jig in there, it pissed her off, and she didn't come over and just suck it in. She kind of grabbed it on the run and just took it off the bed, and I jacked her and didn't get a great hook into her. But that jig still is what pissed her off. I mean, they cannot stand that bulk. But that's my bed fishing baits. Like I said, guys, I'm giving these bed fishing baits away. I'm going to give you a jig. I'm going to give you a pack of Stickos or Cincos or Ochos or something, some kind of stick bait. I'm going to give you guys some menaces, and I'm also going to give you guys some caffeine shads. So make sure you go down below, follow all the rules so that you can enter this giveaway. But hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode. I had fun making it. Even though fishing didn't work out, I ran into a log jam. I forgot to tell you guys, but I also got lost. Today's just been an interesting day. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it because I enjoyed making it. But as always, guys, thank you for watching. Questions or comments, you know where to go leave them. Go down in the description. I'll have all this stuff linked so you guys can go check it out. But as always, you guys are sweet. And thank you for watching.